9/6/24. Good afternoon, friend! It's 1 p.m. on a Friday, and I'm ready to change my life. To be fair, I'm always ready to change my life. I've been thinking, as always, a whole lot about everything. One topic I'm sticking on is friends, another is Paul, and the last is my art career. I think sometimes about work too, but for today, that's best left undiscussed. I'm still trying to find my exact footing for my art career. I thought this year would be about gaining a YouTube following for my art channel, but it turns out it's way more about learning to make videos I connect with and am proud to put out. I've been learning constantly about the video mechanics, and I've learned that a more edited video is a more engaging one, but I also don't like making those at all. My first week of not posting was because those videos are so hard to edit, and then it turned into a month of not posting. I thought I was going to post a video every week this year, and that's still a really solid goal, but I couldn't do it last month. My depression has been bad. I'm better at picking myself up, largely thanks to Paul, but I get down so often. And with the depression comes a lack of energy, and with that lack of energy comes not doing anything I want to do. And with that comes more depression. Nugget is singing in the background. I have Nugget now. Turns out he is 15, not 17. I don't want him to die anytime soon, I really don't. But it would be easier in terms of pet care. Gotta get more soundproofing. Anyway, I have taken many a bath and thought about my art career, and I think I'm going to do a slight shift in branding. I've been labeling my art series as The World is on Fire, but I'm still here. But I want to change to Narrative of a Life. I think I can keep making art in any category, video and painting, under that umbrella for a long time. I also think that will give my art videos a little more direction. I want to start journaling every day, and I'll take the best moments and put them in a video once a week. Then I'll get better at doing painting footage that's artsy and not caring so much about what I look like in the videos, acne or the same shirts or anything like that. It will still be a creative challenge, but I think a good one. One that I can do when I'm happy and when I'm sad. I think you'll even be able to see the difference week by week depending on my moods. Part of having engaging journals is not moralizing my life so completely with every story. I love Barbara Kingsolver books, and part of what I love about her writing is how she just puts together moments. She doesn't tell you what to think of the moments. People can find their own morals. They don't want to be told what to think. I've gotten so smart, I'm incredibly well-read, and I still can't tell a good story. I tell you what to think of every character and every situation. I tell myself what to think of life events as they happen. I think everyone does it to some extent, but I moralize to the extreme. It leaves me with a bunch of conflicting daily morals that change based on my mood, and my worldview is a jumble of pessimistic hopelessness. And here I am, moralizing the fact of my moralizing. So what's happened to me today? This is just a journal, not a life-solving mission. There is no question to solve. I'm trying to solve a question that no one asked. Another moralizing example. The last time I read the clock on the ceiling was at 6:09, and I thought to myself, hey, I've been tossing all night, but now at least I get to say goodbye to Paul before he leaves for work. And the next thing I was aware of, it was a little after 9 and I had no memory of Paul leaving. Typical that I fall asleep only once I finally accepted I'm awake. I tossed in bed till 11, then I told myself absolutely no phone in bed, that's a bad way to start the day. And then I reached for my phone and stayed clicking news stories until nearly noon. I looked at fruit flies on treadmills and the iPhone photography contest winners. One of my favorite photos was an overexposed black and white image of two people in hazmat suits looking through a grated window at the photographer, and it was taken on an iPhone 6. So not having the newest camera phone isn't an excuse anymore, I guess. Then I clicked on the 100 best TV episodes ranked and scrolled, but it was one of those ad-loading long scroll pages that keeps moving the text in random direction, random amounts, so I gave up at 87 and just scrolled down to number 1. The number 1 episode was the finale of Breaking Bad, and I can see why. It's an intense episode with seasons of build-up, and it actually pays off. Then I let Skylar outside and ate breakfast and got distracted scrolling down this list, so when I went to look for Skylar, she was gone. Then I watched the USPS guy watching me call for my cat as he delivered packages, and I was just thinking, hey, if you see my cat, don't run over her. Finally, she appeared on the doorstep, and I gave her treats, even though she was naughty for leaving the fence. If she didn't come back when I called, I don't know what I would have done. So, now, after 2 hours of stalling, I sat down on the computer to edit my video, and immediately pulled out my phone to text my friend back. It hit me in the middle of editing what she was talking about. My old friend group all getting together for my old friend's wedding in October. I cut myself out of that friend group on New Year's Eve, and I regret it, but I also don't. My best friend hasn't texted me back in months, and the other two were never good friends to me. I lost it when the one getting married showed favoritism in the group, because that's not the kind of friend group I'm trying to be in. I made a slideshow for them that I never did get to share. It was sappy about how much they all meant to me, but the evening went so wrong that I couldn't do it. That kind of set the tone for my year. A year of people I love doing disappointing things. No one is who I thought they were. Some I love deeply regardless of anything they've done, and others I question if I want to keep making the efforts to keep them in my life. That all hit me mid-editing, and I couldn't get back into it. My heart isn't in the video at all. It's about understanding art at an advanced level, a sentence which I can't say for some reason, and I just don't feel like it's what I want to put out on my channel. I probably will, but not this weekend. And that led me to journaling. I want to make this a daily habit, and I want to write more about what happened in the day rather than what it all means in my grand scheme. I could do this nightly. I want to meditate more often too, but I think they have to be separate, because combined, I just think about what I'm going to write or what I have written instead of meditating. I can meditate when I'm home for the day, and I can write when I'm done for the day, as in going to bed. It's a change, it's a commitment, but I feel ready to make it. Be more present. Stop wandering into my mind and trying to be happy there. I'm not happy there. Another moralizing note to self. I love you, even if I hate you sometimes too. JT out. Also, stay with Paul. He's the best thing that ever happened to you. Okay, that's all. 9/7/24. Hi journal, look at me go! This is the second day in a row I'm writing, and I'm proud of that start. Today was a pretty ordinary day. I had oatmeal while petting my rumbling bumbling kitty. Then I did my best to meditate in the garage before starting painting, but it was harder than I expected, and I had to pull up a YouTube video to guide the meditation. Then I got to painting. I'm trying to take more interesting shots of my work, the setup and all that. I guess I only have to take those once a week, so that's nice. I couldn't get very into painting today. I am enjoying my book, and the subject matter is just the usual difficulty. I don't know if it's me being out of practice or maybe my depression, but I didn't enjoy it at all, and I quit early, at lunch, 5 p.m. I had a PBJ, and I couldn't finish because I was still full somehow. Gotta love the stomach issue. Then I tried to nap, but really just closed my eyes for an hour and held still enough to not disturb Skylar. Then I broke out the Switch and replanted some trees in Animal Crossing. I made them all organized into neat rows. I probably will change them later. Then I hung out with Paul and ate ice cream for dinner and watched Scrubs. And the last thing I did for the day was to lay in bed and watch 2 long YouTube videos to try to get tired. One was about trad wives of TikTok, and the other was about AI taking over the good jobs. Both of them made me want to, glad, I am putting my head under a rock and shirking the technologies of the time. I feel like I gave up on being a feminist. I didn't, but I don't talk about it to anyone anymore because it feels pointless. The video ended with, maybe I'm just screaming into the void, and that's how it feels. I learned that girls are going around blaming feminism for making them work a 9 to 5. Like childbearing and household maintenance aren't like 5 different full-time jobs combined without benefits, and it's the economy that's making both heads of household need to work, and it's like your life only starts and ends when you meet a provider and you just hope they're loyal to you because there's no backup option if they ever die or leave or turn abusive. It's sad to me that people are still being misled by the very same messaging for the last 100 years. I thought I outgrew that kind of message, that no one actually believed that, and that our society was progressed enough. Every modern time feels like the most modern of times. People in the 1800s thought they were the most advanced pieces of shit to exist, and surely they weren't sexist because they were advanced. Scary to think about the cyclical nature of it all. And then the one about AI made me scared in a different way. I don't fear AI taking my job. I know human art is not replaceable by computer averages of subjects. But I do fear AI taking the majority of jobs. Delivery drivers, mechanics, code writers, copywriters, dentists, graphic designers. Pretty much no career is a stable long-term career anymore. It feels like the trades are the only thing we won't have computers doing entirely in 10 years. And when I was in school, trades were shunned as the layman's option. More elite minds went to college for a degree in English to graduate the same year ChatGPT made their career options shrink to a blip. Life will go on and find a way. It always has, and it always will. But the vastness of it makes me feel small and scared. I like being under a rock. This is the most internet content I've consumed in weeks, and even though it was thoughtful, handmade, and coded in comedy, it's leaving me feeling like I'm expected to answer the world's problems. I wouldn't feel that way without a phone. All you can ever do is live your one life according to the moral code you've written for yourself, trying your best to do your best. Hopefully, empathy and kindness are in your moral code, but how can they be when you waste all of it on the internet and have none left for the people who can actually see and touch you? I'm trying to stop living in my head, and I think everyone should stop living in their phones. And there I go again, moralizing everything. I'm just scared and sad about things so much bigger than me. I'm writing this to remind myself that living a good life is worth doing. I don't want to ignore the world. I want to ignore the internet version of the world. I want to learn my neighbors' names. I'm sure they've seen me naked through the windows by now, might as well know who they are. I go out on the porch to cry a lot, and I call for my cat sometimes. That's all they've seen of me, and I want to bake some desserts and hand them around to add some good things to their days. We all need more good things in a day. Another moral. I'm trying. I won't stop trying. 9/8/24. Hi, journal. I was thinking about what I was gonna write all day. I had this great idea to go on a tangent about what makes up a life. Is it the stories? Is it the time spent? Maybe it's the stats. I've eaten 4 PBJs since starting this journal, and I drank, I think, as many bottles of water. I was going to dive in a little more, but honestly, it's late, and I'm tired, and tomorrow is Monday. So I'm doing my duty and writing a little, but no masterpiece shall be typed tonight. Today I painted and hated it about half as much as yesterday, which is closer to the usual amount. Paul golfed with his dad and brought home some leftover casserole, and I'm craving salty things like crazy after a tater tot casserole dinner and salad with Greek vinaigrette. I'm very full, but the craving subsists. I also baked boxed blueberry muffins, tongue twister, and dyed Paul's hoodie bleach spots. I might have messed up the design on the back. That remains to be seen after it's washed and dried. I'm hoping for the best. I fear I've ruined his favorite hoodie though. Skylar is next to me under her obligations as a cat, but she's sleepy and ready for bed, and I am too. So that's all. JT out. 9/9/24. I forgot to journal and I'm about to fall asleep, so here's my effort to keep the habit going. Maybe I do these after dinner. JT out. 9/10/24. Here I am, once again, 11 o'clock and I'm in bed. I type this out so I can sleep. I watched the presidential debate. What I saw was redacted. This information has been redacted. That's all to say. I'm very sad about it. Also, had a busy day at work today. The morning was busy, but the afternoon was back sweatingly fast-paced. I killed it though. Hopefully I didn't make any dumb mistakes, because I do those more than I'd like. Which isn't much, but my goal is none. Should I talk about my books in this journal? Maybe when I want to. Anyway, my stress in the afternoon was elevating as I worked because time was passing and Paul was going to have to wait for me. So he came to the clinic all cutesy and kissed my forehead, and I told him I love you, go away, and fumed that he was making me so stressed by always being early to get off work and expecting a kiss from me while I'm so busy and thoughts like that. After some fuming, I calmed down and saw the anger as irrational. It's like when you're pissed off and an inanimate object falls, and you just go, "Aw, fuck, this shit sucks." No rationale, just hot hate radiating around you. Then, when we got home, I napped from 4 to 8 instead of going to the gym and grocery shopping. Not sure what I'll do for lunch tomorrow, but I'm glad I skipped that stuff. Wednesdays are hard for me, and my track record is the worst on Wednesdays, so I'm glad I didn't burn myself out this Tuesday. Fuck, it's only Tuesday. Well, gotta sleep. JT out. Oops, I did it again. I swear one of these days I'll remember to sit down and write about my day in detail. Here's the summary though. I got my period today, and thus I was a roller coaster of emotions. I could tell it was coming on because my boobs hurt to run braless, and all of a sudden I found my thighs shockingly fat. Then, at work, I was so mad, and then so sad, and then jubilant, and then embarrassed, and then melancholy, and then vibing, and then back to mad. All before 10. Feels like I'm a little fish in strong tidal waters living in my head sometimes. I have to remember to breathe consciously when I stress myself out over my pace. After work, I could have done anything, but I was trying not to nap 3 days in a row, so I worked really hard and grinded my hours away on Animal Crossing on the couch. I want to say it was fun, but honestly it felt like chores. But I had the suggestion of cramps, so it was something to do without moving around. Tomorrow I have to go to the gym. I hate the gym. Maybe everybody hates the gym. I do need it though. Maybe everybody needs it. I need to figure out what to include in a video journal. All of it? One day? The stories? The emotions? The mundane repetitive things? Not sure. I've had no PBJs as of Sunday. We didn't go grocery shopping. On Monday, I had a Taco Bell burrito bowl, and on Tuesday, I had a Chipotle burrito bowl. Both with chicken and both with guac and a drink. Chipotle was cheaper, which is insane. It also had 3 to 5 times the amount of food in the bowl. Taco Bell has increased their food quality in my opinion, but their prices are just crazy. So is everywhere though, but still. Even their stupid little tortilla with half a handful of cheese on it is $1.50. That thing is worth 30 cents and it's not even $1. Whack. I'm pretty depressed these days. It's been a while, actually. Usually I can break out of the slump more during summer, but the last few summers I've stayed slumped and it's hurting extra lately. I'm functional, just barely. My psychiatrist is changing my meds a little, and I'm hopeful for that. I also think meditating as regularly as I want to would help. Oh, I have a story. It's awful. I'm still cringing literally to death over it. Find me in my grave. So, I'm reconnecting with a childhood friend that I saw at my wedding. So far in the conversation, all we've established is she's been busy with yoga, and I've been busy with painting, and she asked for pictures of what I've been painting. And my dumb ass sent pictures and then asked if she had any pictures of her yoga poses. Like, bruh, there's a small part of me that wonders if I had a crush on her in childhood and just called it friendship. I certainly could like her now, but I'm spoken for and I'm just looking for a friend. Combine that with just my lack of social practice over the last few years, and I ask her for yoga pics. Cringing to death. Dead in the ground. Find me awake all night in my casket. I was also thinking earlier today about putting my work stuff in here, but I'm a little petrified people who work with me would see it and I'd be ruined. Maybe I will later, or maybe I'll get heated enough to talk about it anyway. But right now, I'm just sad about it. Very sad and very tired. Always so tired. My little cat has a bad tooth. We're giving her some vet-suggested over-the-counter pills to help. If they don't help, we've got to scrounge up a couple grand for the cat's dental, even though both Paul and I need dental work too. Lots of money going into teeth right now. It's like eating money, I guess. I keep telling Paul we have to get rich soon so we can pay for all of the vet bills to extend Skylar's life as long as possible. My heart is her-shaped. And now I've got to give her our late night cuddle session. JT out.